And would you look at this? The return of the Kiwi football fix, I think for the third time, because we started up just before Christmas, then we went on our Christmas and New Year holiday, then the Winter Olympics got in the way, so we stopped again. So for the third time, I think it's the third time. I'm losing count, but it's great to be back on the Kiwi football fix and great to see you. Great to be able to talk about some football again, shining a spotlight on all things New Zealand football. And I suppose they'll need a spotlight to find this guy next, Tim Payne, out of the Wellington Phoenix, because it's just torrential rain over in Australia where you are, Tim. Great to have you on the show, mate.
Yeah, happy to be here. And yeah, the weather's not fantastic at the moment, which is not great news, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get a game this weekend.
Yeah, when are we going to see some action again? I think we're scheduled to play on Sunday, is it? But what's the likelihood, given all the torrential downpours that Australia on the East Coast is experiencing at the moment?
Yeah, I'm no weatherman, but fingers crossed we'll get a game on Sunday. We're playing at Jubilee, so I think it's pretty good drainage there, and fingers crossed, as we said, we can play some footy.
Yeah, fingers crossed indeed. Look, I want to start with you today, Tim, talking about this latest border announcement that came out of the government. They're saying that New Zealanders who are vaccinated can return home without the need for MIQ or self-isolation. And so football fans like myself start thinking, well, what does that mean for the Wellington Phoenix? Do you have any idea what that means for the Wellington Phoenix and your ability to possibly play in New Zealand again?
No, not this point in time. There's probably a few things that have to be progressed since then. One being the fact that we probably wouldn't return home until we can get a full stadium or as close to a full stadium as possible. So having the ability to have fans in the stadium, and then two, obviously it's great for us Kiwis, but we also have a few Aussies and foreigners in our team, so that could be an issue getting them back. But yeah, look, for us, it's just we're just trying to focus on the next game, and fingers crossed if we can get back to New Zealand, then fantastic, because we would love to play it at Sky Stadium in front of the Yellow Fever.
Human nature is what it is, Tim, and I'm sure when the announcement was made, you probably started thinking, well, what are the possibilities? And you spoke amongst yourselves, your teammates, maybe the coaching staff. Have there been any prelim discussions, even if there are not official, but just casual amongst each other?
Oh, not too much. There's in the world we live in the last couple of years, there's been a lot of information and a lot of stuff that changes very rapidly. So as I said before, and it's like us during the season, we just worry about this weekend and this football game, and got our eyes focused on that. And as I said, if something does come forward and we get back to New Zealand, then fantastic.
How desperate are you to play in front of a New Zealand crowd again, get inside that cake tin and put on a performance for the Yellow Fever?
Oh, I was massively desperate. It's fantastic. It gives us players a massive boost and a bit of an atmosphere to play in front of, and it gives that extra lift. We've been playing in front of just maybe about 50 people recently. So we even talked about it as players. It's quite funny. We actually enjoy playing against like Sydney FC in Sydney, because there's some atmosphere in the game, things like that. So that's a benefit, and we just use that to our advantage.
Well, lucky for you, Tim, you've extended your contract through to 2025. So I'd be very surprised if you don't get to play at the Cake Tin before the end of that contract. Were there any sticking points in re-signing for the Wellington Phoenix?
No, not really. I think it was pretty clear cut for me. Obviously, there was always a little bit of interest coming to the end of your contract and playing often here at the Knicks, and so there's that side of things. But look, I'm 28 now. I'm happy to be, hopefully in the coming seasons, to be close to family and friends and things like that. And live in New Zealand, it's a pretty nice place to be.
Was there any interest from other parties, either in the A-League or further abroad, or you yourself? Did you test the waters at all?
Oh, there was a little bit of interest, but I won't go into too much detail.
Oh, come on, Tim. You can go into a little bit of detail here on the football fix. Trust me, you can.
No, it's all good. Look, I'm happy at the Phoenix, and a fantastic club, and I'm looking forward to these next 3 years, and hopefully it can be a successful one.
What are you hoping to achieve over the next 3 years? Obviously, a title would be lovely, but what about for you personally?
Well, I think, the main focus 100% is to try and get hands on some silverware. It's, as any sportsman, that we want to try and win things. So that's obviously number one. But then, I guess, as I said, touched on earlier, in 28 now, we have a young squad, and if I can help other players, other young Kiwis, and the likes of they get the chance in the A-League and to develop as footballers, then all the better. And I think that's probably part of my role now at the Phoenix as well, is to try and help these young kids as much as possible and give them the best possible chance to succeed in their own careers. And hopefully, fingers crossed, they make the move as previous Phoenix young boys have done over to Europe and overseas, and to higher and better things, I guess, in regards to the football careers.
Hey, let's talk about the Wellington Phoenix, because 6 games undefeated, mate. You've managed to turn around that 4-match losing streak. What's been the key in order for that to happen, in your opinion?
Yeah, for whatever the reason is, we seem to like to start the seasons quite slow under Uffy, which is not something that we actually did touch on in the past 2 seasons, last season. But unfortunately, it happened again. But I don't think I'd put it down to one particular thing. The addition of Scotty and Gael have been massive to, obviously foreign players coming in, adding that a bit of experience and that bit of quality. And then obviously just, I think, a change in mentality has probably been a bit more significant. I think I can lean on that Sydney FC game where, it was our last game, it was our 5th game in 14 days. And we're up 1-0 and we're disappointed to concede. But, the boys showed a lot of grit and determination and stuck in there and defended pretty well. And obviously that game probably, we were happy in the end probably to draw that, because Sydney FC probably had the better chances. But then at the end we were able to sneak a goal ourselves. So I guess that change of mentality of, in those pressure moments or those tough moments, to really stand up. And, I think it was a point gained and not too lost in that regard after the week we had.
You mentioned your imports, Sandoval, Wootton. How important is it that these guys come in and they hit the ground running straight away? Because in the past we have seen imports take a while to get going. They come in with niggles that turn into long-term injuries. So what's impressed you about Sandoval and Wootton in these early stages of their Wellington Phoenix careers?
Yeah, I guess, they're both fitted in perfectly, seamlessly. So that's been fantastic. As the A-League is run, you expect the foreign players coming in to add a lot of quality to the team, which they have done, and credit to them. Gael's, it was probably both very tough on them, the fact that they haven't played much footy and then came into that period of time. So it just shows you the standard and experience that they've had throughout their careers. To be able to go do that. Scotty's a leader. He's vocal and a bit of a presence in our back four, and has made a difference in there. And then Gael, obviously, you can see the quality that he has on the pitch and that finishing touch. He scored 3 goals in how many games he's played, which has been fantastic, and something probably we've struggled a little bit to do at the start of the season.
You mentioned the slow start, and it's something that the Wellington Phoenix are almost, they're well known for under Uffy. But how much did the change in spine sort of contribute to that, Tim? Because when you look at the players that they lost in the off-season, Stephen Taylor was a last-minute outcast. You lose Cameron Devlin, you lose Tomer Hamed, Ulysses Davila. How much did that contribute to the slow start to the season?
Oh, I don't know if it would have contributed to the slow start, but losing those, 4 quality players, Stephen Taylor with all of experience, and I think Cameron Devlin has been a massive loss for us. The energy and the work rate he brought to the team, and how he picked up so many loose balls for us was a big key or a big cog and how he played. And then obviously everyone knows the quality of Bully, and I think he's the best player in the league. So that was disappointing, but these things happen in football. And yeah, look, I think it probably has contributed a little bit in a way, but now we've got a settled squad, we've got depth into positions, and I think also touch on the mentality, but then also the likes of Clayton Lewis and Alex Rufer have really started to click over those 5 games, and they've became that presence that we were missing in the centre of park, and that the centre of park is such a key facet of every football game, and they've really stood up. And Roof's been given an armband this year, and I think he's taken it in a stride, and it's been fantastic to see those two boys playing really well at the moment.
You give him any grief that he still hasn't scored a goal though?
Oh, every day. Where me and Ollie are just was it I think the Adelaide game, he's hit a left foot volley. It's beautiful, like great strike, and I think the keeper's made an unbelievable save. And me and Ollie after the game it's just going to be one of those things. You're just not going to score. It's just not going to happen.
Ever. It's just never going to happen.
But but yeah, it gets touched on. But he's not in the team to score goals. He's it's part of in the way off he plays. Him and Clay, our anchors in there, and they're playing fantastically well. And if he keeps playing like he's playing, he doesn't need to score the goals for us.
Yeah, leave it to other people. Hey, you're sitting 7th at the moment, just outside the top 6, obviously, but games in hand on everybody else inside that top 6, bar the Melbourne victory, I think. So how happy are you with where you sit at this stage of the season?
Yeah, very happy. Obviously, after that slow start, to go on that run, it's just very disappointing. I think momentum's a massive thing in football, and we played those 5 games in a short space of time, and then to not play last weekend has been disappointing. We would like to have continued that on, but we've had a good week of training, and we're looking forward to this weekend against Melbourne City, which is going to be another fantastic challenge. And I think those 5 previous games that we played, I think we all were playing teams above us, and we didn't lose. We beat most of them and had 2 draws. So I think we're not scared of anyone. We're confident, and we're keen to play some footy and keep putting on performances that we're proud of.
It's a big year for you, Tim. Obviously, we want the Wellington Phoenix to be gunning for their very first A-League title. But when you look at the All Whites and what's coming up at the end of the year, there's a World Cup, and you've managed to put yourself in the mix, getting back in with Danny Hayes' side in the Middle East. How pleased were you to, first of all, get selected and then get on the field in a white shirt again?
Yeah, I mean, it's every Kiwi lad's dream who plays football to represent their country. I think that goes with any sport. To be able to put the silver fern on is a fantastic experience, and I was buzzing to be involved, buzzing to be back inside that culture and that team. And I think Danny's done some brilliant work over the last 18 months or so, and there's been a big shift and change of culture and things like that, and the way that the boys have played in some recent games has been fantastic. And it was obviously just probably a little bit disappointing that we didn't put the performance out we wanted to against Jordan. You can put that down to a number of factors. Obviously we had a lot of players that that weren't playing at the period of time, but it also just shows the commitment and the drive from all those boys to be really involved and keen to play. And yeah, as you touched on earlier, if I'm involved come these March qualifiers, I'm looking forward to it and buzzing, hopefully, to help the team qualify for that next World Cup.
So you've mentioned already that you've had a bit of an association over the years with All Whites head coach Danny Hay. You spent a bit of time at Eastern Suburbs when he was there, and obviously now he's the national coach. He must keep tabs on you. So what is it that Danny Hay wants from the All White Tim Payne? Have you had those conversations? What does he expect of you, and where does he want you to play?
Yeah, it's a question I keep getting asked about where he wants me to play. Look, I think obviously me playing at the right back is probably good for him and the All Whites to have that option for him if he chooses me to play there. It's been an area where everyone knows he's tried a few different players there. So hopefully if I can put on the performances in the yellow and black shirt, then I get my chance there. He just, Danny holds very high standards of everyone, and so that's, playing at a standard that's good enough for international football and is good enough to help us win that qualifying game. And I guess it's high standards, and there's little certain things that he obviously wants in regards to, I guess, that fullback position or that centre back position, and that fullback position, it's one of the most probably harder working positions in the team, and the fact that he expects us to get up and down as much as possible and contribute to both ends of the pitch, which is I think a big factor in the teams moving forward. Yeah,
I suppose it comes down to your comfort, doesn't it? Like, how comfortable are you playing out wide on the right? And I suppose, you're a guy who's played a multitude of positions. You know, like all you need to do is go on your Wikipedia page and it says Tim Payne is he's played every position bar goalkeeper, you know. So you've obviously played that position before and played it very well, but you've also made a really strong name for yourself in the heart of that Wellington Phoenix defence. So how difficult is it for you to all of a sudden start thinking like a right back or a right wing back when all you've been doing for the last wee while is playing in the heart of defence?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities in the two positions. First and foremost, it's a defender's role, and so that aspect of the game, I think, is a strength of mine. So it's just about transferring those defending qualities over from a centre back position where you're probably not caught in many 1v1 situations, and you're more defending your box or in a central position, organising people. Whereas right back, it's often 1v1 at times, and then it's that ability to get forward, which is probably the biggest difference. But for me, it's not too dissimilar, and I think I can do both, and it's probably going to benefit for me in the long run.
What's your favourite position that you've played?
I've said it before. I'm more than happy to play wherever, but and somewhere in the back four. Obviously, when the game's in front of me, I think that's when I'm at my best. I said before that the defending side of the game is probably one of my better attributes. So, yeah, look, I don't mind either way. As I slowly get older, obviously, I think the body would probably appreciate playing centre back rather than right back. But look, I've still got quite a lot of legs in me, so I'll play wherever the coach puts me.
Well, that sounds great, mate. And I want to know, when will you play? Because when you think about the Oceania Football Confederation World Cup qualifiers coming up next month, this month now. We're in early March. So when will you be released from the Wellington Phoenix is my question. Will you be there right from the word go, or will you expect to come in partway through that camp and that qualifying campaign? Have you had any conversations with Uffy or Danny about when you're likely to appear?
Yeah, there has been conversations, and that's between the club and the national team, and I'm sure they'll work out what's best for both parties in that regard. And so, I'll leave that to them.
How weird is it, though, having an Oceania qualifying campaign that isn't being played in New Zealand or anywhere in Oceania? You've got to go into the Middle East to get things done. Is that bizarre to you?
Yeah, a little bit bizarre, but not as much, and not as bizarre as the fact that some of the games are outside the international window. I don't really have words for that, and the fact that people potentially not being able to represent their country at a World Cup qualifier. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. And I guess in regards to the location, obviously we'd love to be playing at home, and that's the number one place we would want to be playing. But if you had Qatar over something like the Solomon Islands or PNG or something like that, I think I'd probably take Qatar.
Who do you think will stand up? Is it someone like a Fiji with Roy Krishna at the pointy end of the field?
Yeah, I think you kind of touched on it there, really. The island teams can be very unpredictable, and they've got one or two very, very good players. The likes of Roy, we all know how a fantastic player he is, and I think it's more about us, and it's more about us controlling games and not turning it into things like a transitional game where it's nice and open, and it gives opportunities like the likes of Roy to be 1v1 or on the break or things like that. And yeah, so it's about us dominating games, controlling possession, and winning it that way.
Have you sort of spent much time looking at the CONCACAF table? I see Canada is at the top of it at the moment, and USA is sort of moving in behind them, and Mexico, I think, is in third position. Look, I don't want to look into my crystal ball and tell you who you're playing if you qualify through, but it's looking like Panama or Costa Rica. Do you afford yourself to look into the future to see who you might be up against in that intercontinental playoff?
Oh, 100%. I think, we have a look to see how those teams are progressing, but in the end of the day, whoever it is, I think, we just have to rely on our quality, and the coaching staff will do a thorough job of who that team is with all the intel and how they'll play and things like that. And it's a great opportunity, a one-off game that if we can first get through these March qualifiers, then it gives us a fantastic opportunity to go out there and beat them, whoever that may be, and hopefully get to another World Cup.
How upset are you that we do away with this home and away two-leg system and we don't get that wonderful atmosphere and environment at the Cape Town anymore?
Yeah, obviously that's massively disappointing for New Zealand football fans. I'll let you know if I like it or if I don't like it come that time. If we win that game, then brilliant. Let's keep doing more of those. But I'm not too sure about it, honestly. There's pros and cons, but to both sides of it. Obviously, getting to play at home is always going to be tough for them. But then obviously going over to their home turf can be also difficult. So yeah, one-off game. We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
I'm going to pass my crystal ball over to you, Tim. So there you go, take that. What are your predictions for the Wellington Phoenix and the All Whites and yourself this year?
Predictions or predictions. Look, I think as a bare minimum for the Wellington Phoenix and the quality we have in our squad is to make the top six. And I think we were bitterly disappointed last year in the fact that we didn't make the top six. And I think if we did, we would have, we could have really made a good go at it. So that's bare minimum for us. Get the top six and then see what happens from there. And then with New Zealand football, it's we're confident, and we really really are keen to get to that next World Cup, and I can see it happening. So fingers crossed for New Zealand football fans and obviously everyone involved in the All Whites that we can make the country proud and be at another World Cup.
A couple of questions before I let you go, and thank you so much for being so generous with your time today, Tim. Who's really getting on your tits in the Wellington Phoenix camp? You've been over there for months on end. Is anyone really getting up your nose?
Nah, not really.
That grin tells me something else, mate. Come on.
Well, probably the benefit of having a lot of the young boys is they kind of stick together, so I'm able to separate myself at times, and we've got our own little places here, which is good. So I don't have to spend too much time with them as I see them most days. So no one really in particular. Everyone gets on your nerves at every point in time, I'm sure, but no one really stands out.
Okay, and last question: if you couldn't be Tim Payne, footballer, would you rather be Tim Payne, the Australian cricketer, or disgraced Australian cricketer, or recording artist T-Pain, master of auto-tune?
Being a rapper wouldn't be too bad, would it? Yeah, that lifestyle. Give it that a go.
He was also accused of ruining music forever with that auto-tune stuff. But look, if you can live with that on your conscience, then be my guest.
I've actually seen a fantastic clip of him singing without any auto-tune, and he's quite good. I think it might be a Tiny Desk concert or something like that.
I saw the same thing.
He's chosen to do auto-tune because he obviously seen a market or people like the sound of it, but I think the guy can still sing.
I think you and I watched the same documentary probably going back maybe 5 or 6 months ago. Yeah, I remember it, yeah. So, okay, Tim Payne or T-Pain, recording artists. Thank you so much for your time, Tim. Really appreciate it. Fingers crossed we see you again in the A-League. When? This weekend?
Yeah, fingers crossed Sunday.
Awesome, mate.
Thanks, Melbourne City.
Brilliant. Good luck for that game, and all the very best for the All Whites qualification for the World Cup at the end of this year, mate. Go well, and thanks so much for your time.
Really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, here's hoping that we can see the Wellington Phoenix out on the field again. A little bit waterlogged at the moment, but if they manage to dry things out this Sunday, 6:05 p.m, you will see them on Sky up against Melbourne City. My thanks to Scott and Rodrigo for putting together the Kiwi Football Fix. We'll see you same time next week on the KFF.